Ladies and gentlemen, we are back for another episode of the Smoke Sessions. Welcome back. Hello, how are you? Are you well? It's good to be back.
Okay. Why are you talking to him like you just trapped him in an alleyway?
Look, I do the intros, you do the outros. Okay? Ali did a smashing outro last week.
No, I watched it.
Did you not like it?
He looked creepy.
Yes, that was the point. It looked good.
He looked terrifying. His head's way too big. It really took the whole frame.
No, it was distorted. The frame was distorted. That's what it was.
And his head's also massive.
Leave Ali alone.
He's just not a very good looking person.
Look at the size of your forehead.
What's wrong with my forehead? Oh, that's a manufacturing error. Don't leave him alone. He's young. He's growing still. Isn't that right, little Moo Moo? Yes, you're so handsome.
He's never ever going to grow.
Yes, he will.
No, he won't.
Yes, he will.
No, he won't.
He's a good man.
He won't. He won't listen.
He's
Listen, Yesilada, he won't grow.
He will.
Have you given him a name, or is he just Little Moo?
He's just little Moo Moo.
Little Moo.
Yeah, he's a good man. I cuddle him.
Do you?
Yeah, sometimes I dry hump him to freak people out. And sometimes when people FaceTime me, I just put that on the camera.
Has anyone actually talked to it?
My missus thought it was me.
Really?
Yeah, because
did you get it that close?
She was on FaceTime to my mum and I put it next to her head and she thought it was my head and then I popped up in the bag and she screamed. She was like, "Oh my god."
That's brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah, that was funny.
Small things.
Yeah.
Small things make the world go round.
Are you well, Viraj?
I'm well.
Good.
I'm well.
Good.
I feel like I'm flexing today because I've got a goose.
Okay.
It's the first time in my life I've got something that's like hyped. And it's like, wow! I feel invincible.
You stole out your brother's wardrobe, Viraj. You didn't want people to know that, did you? Because you're too busy flexing. When material things mean nothing. They mean nothing.
Why can't you just let me have this?
I don't know why I should, to be honest.
I let you get away with so many things.
What was the whole thought about changing your wardrobe about? What did you think? What was the thought process?
About changing my wardrobe?
Yeah.
From what to what?
I don't know. You went through a phase when you started wearing these hats.
Because it's cold. And, okay, so the real reason why I started wearing these hats is it got cold, one, and two, I left my actual hat at a friend's house.
Yeah. And
my brother took forever to go and pick it up.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, it's a shame that he took forever to pick up because we do all have the same 24 hours in a day. You know, that's been... Like, if he just worked hard...
Okay, what's your take? Like, hot take, cold take, whatever take it is. What's your thoughts?
I think everyone's been a bit harsh on Molly Mae, to be honest.
This is context for people that haven't seen it. Molly Mae did an interview with Stephen Bartlett, and she did the Diary of a CEO, not an interview, she did the Diary of a CEO podcast. She's on there talking about her motivations and her thought processes and getting underneath her skin in terms of thinking, and having quite a good conversation from what I saw. And there is a snippet, like 6 seconds or 10 seconds, that is completely taken out of context, I think. And social media has just gone wild because that was actually quite a great podcast, in my opinion.
I feel bad for Molly Mae, man.
It sucks. It really sucks.
People are acting like she's the person who invented the term that you only have 24 hours in a day. No, hang on, sorry. People are acting like she invented the term everyone's got the same 24 hours.
Yeah.
She's not the first person to say that. Loads of people say that.
Tons.
Loads of people say that.
Do you think it's because she's a woman that she's got this backlash, or do you think that it's because she's tone deaf, so to speak?
I think it's because it's Molly Mae. People seem to have a problem with her.
What is the problem with Molly Mae?
I think Molly Mae represents for a lot of girls the person they really hated in secondary school.
You think?
Yeah. The pretty girl that seems to just do really well at everything.
She's got the great boyfriend.
She's got the great boyfriend. She's the cheerleader, isn't she? No one likes her head. No one likes the head of the cheerleader squad
like in
or whatever.
The American movies.
Yeah, she's the head cheerleader. I think people just seem to... She had to once apologise, right? Because, what was it? She said she didn't like Italian food. And people lost their crap at her and she had to issue a public apology.
Because she didn't like Italian food?
Yeah. Okay. She's held to an unfair standard. I think she is held to an unfair standard because she didn't say anything that male motivational speakers, internet intellectual types haven't been saying for years. Right?
I think it's genuinely ridiculous.
Now,
is there some sort of is there some sort of, I'm looking for the word here, but basically what I'm trying to say is like, I respect what people are saying or trying to say about how she's tone deaf and this, that and the other. Do I agree with them though? I personally don't. I genuinely don't. Because she said something that she truly believed, and on a technical level, she's correct. We all have 24 hours in a day. Now, is everyone's 24 hours different, or does it look different?
Yes. Yes.
What you're doing with your time, yes.
Yes. If your problems are to do with social inequality, right? People who are in positions of power, not realizing their privilege in that sense, fine.
Agreed.
But
agreed. You've got a bone to pick. You're going to pick a bone with it. But
attacking an individual
for the sake of attacking her
doesn't show me that you genuinely care about the issue, because where was that energy a week ago?
Yeah.
Suddenly you care. The people in the factory in Pretty Little Thing were earning £3.50 a year ago. Where was that energy then?
But I guess it brings it up now. It gives them an opportunity to speak about it, right?
Now speak about the issue. Making memes and taking the piss out of a girl, right, who's 22 years old. And by the way, people say, yeah, she was on Love Island and stuff. A lot of people go on Love Island. They don't get into her position. She's done very well. You have to give it to her.
Out of everyone that has done Love Island,
she leveraged it the best. Yes.
Hands down. You know, kudos to her. She has absolutely killed it.
She's smashing it, right? And she's not an idiot, by the way. Yeah. She's not an idiot. She might
but just because she's blonde and just because she's pretty and she's a girl, you think she is.
And she was on Love Island.
She was
doesn't make an idiot.
No.
Just the same with Katie Price. People lambasted Katie Price for years. Katie Price is not an idiot. You don't get to her position in life and leverage what she's done by accident. Kim Kardashian, because she had a tape, people lambast her as well.
She got someone off death row, for God's sake.
She's certainly not an idiot. And it's a shame to me that it's mostly women who are piling on.
Is it?
Yeah, and I've had a couple of conversations with women about this, and they said, well, it would be the same if it was a man, right? But I've never heard you guys speaking about the men. So that's because we haven't seen it. So if you care so much, why haven't you looked for it?
So
you knew it was happening.
Haven't seen it. Is it because it's always said? It's just in other ways.
It's because their algorithms have finally now directed them towards this issue that they suddenly care. Because Molly Mae comes up on their feed. But these things have been said by successful people for a long time, and I've never agreed with it. I've never agreed with this whole concept that all of our 24 hours are equal, because they're most certainly not.
Did she say that? Did she say all of our 24 hours are equal, or we all have the same 24 hours?
The stupid thing she said was Beyonce has the same 24 hours as us, right? It's a stupid thing to say.
On a technical level, yes.
But it doesn't warrant the character assassination that's happening.
Agreed.
It just doesn't.
Agreed.
And people have to look at themselves and do you really care about the issue, or is your problem directly targeted at Molly Mae?
So, what do you think the issue is here? Inequality, social inequality.
What the issue underlying what she said?
The issue underlying what she said. Do you know what that is?
I
genuinely, for a moment, was unsure of it.
The problem with what she said is it kind of insinuates that she has no consideration for people's struggles in terms of being underprivileged, in terms of how much money you make, the opportunities you have in life, blah, 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 all that stuff, right? It insinuates that she's tone deaf to that, which it most certainly sounded like she was. However, she's not the first person to demonstrate this. It doesn't require a character assassination to deal with it. And where was that energy for all those other men who've been saying this for time?
It's ridiculous.
I feel bad for her, genuinely. And she has to go quiet. She can't defend herself.
She's gone quiet, hasn't she?
Yeah.
For a little bit, she's gone quiet. It sucks that we're in a position like this where, you know, someone's 6 seconds of a, quite honestly, great interview, great conversation that two people were having is completely destroyed because someone thought, or someone sees that as tone deaf. And a lot of people see that as tone deaf. And it's like, well, look at all the other things and all the motivation that she talked about and how she structured her life and the opportunities that she's leveraged. Like, what about all the great things that she's done? all the great opportunities that she's made the most of, not because she's in a position of power, because she's come from Love Island. I'm pretty sure before Love Island, she was a normal human being.
Right.
Like, okay, so let's fast forward your life a little bit. I don't want to, jinx anything, but let's say you become a great comedian, a big comedian, you're doing Netflix shows and whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
You were still Mushin Yesilada that went to school in Tottenham.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not exactly. I've never been financially.
No, agree. I agree with that.
Probably,
Agree.
yeah.
We both come from privilege. I
Yeah.
agree with that. But what I'm trying to say is that you're still a normal human being.
Right.
That's the point. I'm not trying to get into the financial and the inequality
Yeah.
side of stuff. You're a normal human being, just like I'm a normal human being, just like Joe Bloggs on the street, just like the roadmen are, just like every other person in London is a human being.
Yeah.
But you want to berate her character because she took 6 seconds. You want to take 6 seconds out of context, and that's the bit I have a bone to pick with.
If you do, what people have to understand, if you do interviews for a living, right? So you're doing basically an interview every
What
other
she's
day.
doing now, basically.
Hours on end, you are being interviewed. Eventually, you are going to say something a little bit silly. Everyone will.
Because you haven't been TV prepped, or
It just
what
happens.
you're actually thinking.
It's natural,
slips out.
Viraj. It's natural, Viraj. Like, all the people criticising her, if they were interviewed as much as she was, eventually they will say something a little bit objectionable. And let's see how they feel. Wouldn't they want has some cuts, some slack being cut?
Okay, so let's. I like to do things, or one of the ways of thinking I like to do is let's take it to an extreme. Who's the most extreme individual on planet Earth that says what he's thinking?
The most extreme person.
Let's stretch it out to an extreme example. The person I'm looking for you to say is Elon.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
He says what he thinks.
Yeah.
And because he's backed up by logic, or how he thinks is logical, you take what he says as, oh my God, this is God sent. Or a lot of people take what he says as God sent.
Because they respect him.
Because they respect him. Why can't you respect Molly Mae for what she's done? Why
Right.
can't you respect this human being for what she's done? Sure, she's not putting people on the moon, but she's creative director of a brand at the age of 22. Kudos to her.
Also, here's another point about you. If this was really about the issue, how come Steve Bartlett isn't getting any criticism? Do you know why? Because people like him. The people who are criticising him, like Steve, they don't like Molly Mae. The same people who are criticising him also would take objection to interviewers and people who run massive podcasts, giving platform to people who have objectionable views. So in your mind, following that logic, Steve just gave a platform to someone who you consider has a disgusting view, right? So why are you not giving him the same amount of flack?
Stick.
You're not. You're not. Because you like Steve.
Because that wasn't the point of the interview as well. The point of the interview was to help understand the mind of Molly Mae. You did. You got to understand it. And just because you don't like a little bit of it, okay, doesn't mean you have to berate her character and destroy her character and put her mentally at a setback. Jesus, man.
It's bizarre to me. It really is alien to me. Of all the things to be worried about in the world right now, because your social media algorithm has directed your attention to this, you can't have the nuance and the critical reasoning ability to direct yourself to more important issues than berating Molly Mae. By the way, the things you are discussing, right, or you could be discussing, absolutely important issues. But you don't want to have those discussions. You just want to focus on what Molly Mae said.
Hate it.
Shisha me.
I'm not a fan. Just got this.
Oh,
And it's horrible that we live in a world where that happens. But such as technology and such as social media and the place. I need to open this one.
God forbid Molly Mae does something to herself, then what?
Well, then we've pretty much lost an icon.
Well, no, forget about that. Then what conversation do people have to have with themselves?
Okay, well, then it's, oh my God. Oh my God, she, let's hope not, but she committed suicide, or she...
It's the I hate to use this example, right? Because it's a controversial example to use. But when Caroline Flack killed herself, she was dragged through social media, Viraj. And everyone's acting like they forgot that bit. Absolutely dragged.
That was
decimated.
That was 2 years ago.
Yes.
That was 2 years ago. Where's that energy? Where's that energy of the Be Kind movement? after Caroline Flack went past?
A few people have mentioned this on Twitter. What about Caroline Flack? And some people, you can't use Caroline Flack as an example. Why? It's an example.
You did the same thing.
It's an example of someone who was dragged through social media, or for opinions and views they had. The examples go on. Britney Spears, dragged through social media. Look what happened to that girl.
Kim Kardashian has been dragged several times, but she's held her own. She's done well for herself.
I just think it's a shame that it's mostly women attacking her, but they don't have that same energy for men who say the same thing. The Rock says it all the time. Jordan Peterson says it all the time. Joe Rogan says it all the time. But their arguments are, but we haven't seen those. Then look for them if you care.
They're there. They are there. It's literally in every single motivational, real TikTok speech that they give that someone compilates together.
But the difference is, Viraj, it's because their social media algorithm hasn't recommended that to them yet.
I think also part of it is because they're men. And there's this subconscious element to it. This is a really good shisha bar.
Just let the men, what do you mean? So they just let the men crack on with it because they're men?
There's no basis to back it up.
The media, without a doubt, the media hold women to much higher standards than they hold men. That's a fact, right? If a man sleeps with 20 girls, he's considered a lad. A man who has the respect amongst other men.
A player, whatever.
Yeah. If a woman does that, if a female celebrity does that, or she's on the cover of Heat magazine, and she's this, and she's that, and she's wild, and she can't be tamed, she can't be stopped, there's something wrong with her, she's a little bit on edge, she might be doing drugs, they lambast them, they drag them through the media until they harm themselves. And people can't seem to put this connection. Listen, if you do enough interviews, guys, you do enough podcasts, you will eventually say something a little bit objectionable.
I did it on our flipping second episode.
I don't remember what you said. Never mind.
You know what I said.
I can't remember what you said.
The sleeping with my wife or my partner sleeping
with... yeah.
I haven't been brought up in a while.
Yeah.
I thought I'd bring it up.
Yeah. Just wait for that clip to resurface in a few years.
I'm looking forward to it. Let's see what happens.
They won't... But Viraj, if you said that, you're not going to get dragged for that.
No, people come up to me and question my mind. Why do you think that way?
If you're a woman and you said that,
you're being dragged through. You're being berated. You're being dragged through the mud.
You ain't this. You ain't that. You don't that. The most you'll get is some harmless banter, which you did.
Yeah.
They'll make a couple of funny memes about you, and that's it. But they won't criticize. They won't question your character and drag you through the mud.
It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Like she is helping to run a business. A business that is like $1 billion brand, right? Or maybe not $1 billion, but a multi-$100 million brand. And she is going to have to go. I'm not trying to speak on Molly Mae's mind, but if I was put in her shoes and what she's doing, she's going to have to sit there and absorb all of that hate that is coming her way and continue to do her job.
You know what else bothers me about this situation? When people now make memes and they put in those memes something she never said. So, for example,
really?
I've seen this that comes up. If you're homeless, just buy a house or something like that. She never said that. But now you keep spreading that meme. People are going to associate that ridiculous notion with her, which is unfair. How would you like if I did that to you?
That's ridiculous. No,
if I attached a concept that you never said to your name, a quote that you never said to your name, how would you feel?
And it's going to... I'd hate it.
You'd never say it to her face.
No, but you'd say it on social media or you say it behind her back.
Chris Eubank, the boxer, Chris Eubank Jr.,
yes.
The boxer, he puts it really well. He says, on social media, I get called every name under the sun. I get approached all the time in the street. No one has ever said anything bad about me to my face. So what's that about?
You can hide behind it.
You can hide behind and you can write all you want. But the fact is, we've all said stupid things.
Of course.
Right? Things that can be misinterpreted, especially in the 6-second clip.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, it can happen at any point in our lives. But it's difficult to bring it up to that person in person and have a conversation with them about what they said. Do you think someone sat down with her afterwards and was like, Molly, what you said there was out of order, or Molly, what you said there is going to be completely pulled out of proportion? I don't think so. After that interview, after that conversation, I don't think anyone sat there
Yeah.
in that room or with her team or with Stephen's team and said, "Oh, what you said there, no, we've got to have words about that." No, I think I wasn't there, but I can only imagine that they were like, "That's a great conversation. Thank you so much."
And Steve at that moment went, well, I don't agree with that point entirely, but whatever, let's move on. It wasn't a big deal.
Yeah.
Now, the broader conversations about social inequality and people checking their privilege, absolutely worthy conversations to have.
Facts.
Absolutely.
And
But
we
this whole-
we joke about that all the time. Right? We joke about privilege and we joke about all of these things, but at the end of the day, it's a problem.
Yeah.
And I know, and maybe this is me saying something weird, but I would love a world where everyone is equal.
Yeah.
But then what happens to our current form of reality? Because I don't know what that looks like. Because when everyone is equal, it's not communism, but that's what communism that's what they were selling, that this beautiful world where everyone is equal, we all earn together. But we live in such a capitalist world now that, okay, that happens, you're going to want to buy, okay, if you want to buy a Canada Goose, well, then everyone should be able to purchase a Canada Goose. The brand, the concept of a luxury brand, the concept of all of this stuff goes out the window. All of these material things that you want the Ferrari, you want the Goose, you want the iPhone. Well, if everyone can have one, a lot of people just won't buy it, or a lot of people won't want to have one. And I'm not saying that, yeah, sure, let's make the state communist, but have a think about that as well. The real conversation is, how do we get everyone to a point where they are sustainable and have the ability and have the knowledge to help themselves, to maintain lifestyles, not overexceed their spending, pull people out of inequality and give them a platform, and teach a man to fish and he'll be able to eat for a lifetime, he'll be able to live forever, or whatever it is, right? But I think it's a really difficult conversation to have, and I don't have the brain to be able to do that. I'd have to do a lot of thinking. We have better people doing that type of stuff, doing that research, working on stuff like that, right? Think about, okay, take Elon for instance. On Mars, he's talking about, because he's going to be the guy to get us there. What's that world going to look like? Is everyone going to be equal there? What are the forms of payment? What does inequality look like there? What does poor look like there? Like, those are real conversations. That's a reality that's going to happen.
But it's a lot easier to just drag someone for a bit, have a bit of fun with it, and then keep it moving.
Yeah. You get your 20 minutes of fame and your thing retweeted 1 billion times. You coin a hashtag. So what? You've destroyed someone's life potentially.
How many times have you seen Molly Mae publicly bullying someone?
Never. I've never seen it.
Or dragging someone? No, and she probably wouldn't, because she understands what it's like.
Because it happens to her on a daily basis. Have you ever had your name pulled under the mud or pulled through the mud?
No, not that I can recall. Touch wood.
I haven't. I've heard people say things about me that I don't agree with. In terms of, like, I remember I was at uni and I was talking to a friend and she was telling me about someone that she just talked to from when she was coming from the library, and I was like, oh, and the way that he described me, I didn't agree with, and I was like, oh, that is how I'm perceived by other people. And for a minute, I had to like almost G-check myself and be like, wait, am I doing something wrong here? Or is that someone else's perception of me, sorry. And I had a weird moment there, but that's probably the only time that it's happened.
Do you remember when we first started this podcast, when I would make a point about working hard towards your dreams? I would always put that disclaimer, right, about saying, but this doesn't apply to everyone because of blah blah blah.
Yeah, and it's the working mum that has 3 kids and 3 jobs. Yeah.
Why do I have to put that disclaimer? Surely that should just be understood, and then we go from there.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, the fact that this happens and the fact that you have to put a disclaimer on top of this stuff. And for a while, you said it, I think you said it maybe 5-6 times. And I've seen this, and I'm editing this, so I've seen the clips and everything. But I didn't understand till the 3rd time that you did it, or maybe the 4th, why you were doing it. We've never had a conversation about this. And only then did it dawn on me that if you don't say that, then this happens.
Yes. You need to put your T's and C's to your statements.
Like, why do I have to put the T's and C's to something? You want to know the inside of our heads. You want to understand. You want to have a conversation with us or listen to us, right? But this should be understood. You should know this. You shouldn't have to go over the T's and C's every time.
Do you know how bad some of my jokes would sound if only a portion of them were just clipped up and someone spread it on the internet?
Jesus Christ, they'd be bad.
I have a joke that literally starts with, I like racism.
It's bad. Like, it would be horrible.
If someone clipped a bit of me just saying, I like a little bit of racism, and they don't hear the rest, I'm going to look like a terrible guy.
Yep, absolutely.
That's fucking ridiculous. It is ridiculous.
But that's why we manage Muhsin's image in a way that gets him out there. Look, okay, we're on this topic of social media, yeah? And people getting inside of other people's heads. I can't imagine what Molly Mae's going through, but AJ came out on, was it an interview, a Sky interview or something? Talked about how Tyson got in his head.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, you're talking about a professional athlete, guy that performs in front of millions.
Yeah.
Yeah. People around the globe love him. People around the globe hate him. And there is an individual that's in his same weight class that is basically a peer in the boxing community. Got inside of his head and caused him potentially to lose a fight. I'm not sure. I know AJ sits back and he always says, the onus is on me. It's my fault. It wasn't anything on the day, and he's very, very professional about it. Jesus Christ. Tyson Fury can get into any man's head.
He's a master. He's a master at mental warfare.
It's insane. And I genuinely didn't believe it. I thought AJ was not. I thought AJ was one of those people that had one of the strongest minds.
Yeah. When Fury starts talking to proud professional boxers who've had their way for years, right? They've been the alpha male in basically every room they walk in. Klitschko's a good example. Klitschko was undefeated for like 12 years.
Yeah.
Basically destroyed every man that was in front of him. And then this
he was the living Terminator.
And then a guy who's finally bigger than him, is louder than him, is brasher than him, comes along and says, you are nothing. I'm going to embarrass you in your home country.
Ridiculous.
I'm going to do this. I'm going to stand there. I'm going to trade with you and you're going to go down and there's nothing you're going to do about it. He dressed up as Batman.
Yeah, I saw that.
Runs into it and then he got his cousin to dress up as Robin. And they got another guy to dress up as Joker and he starts beating up the Joker in front of him and says, you're next. These little things. He's very good. He's very good. You know what Tyson Fury would do? Tyson Fury would call up Anthony Joshua in the middle of the night and just say, I'm going to knock you out, you bum. Just every now and then would just give him a ring. Just to wind him up. Imagine you're AJ, you're in bed, you're trying to think about your training next day, you're knackered, and then you get a call from Fury who doesn't sound like he's training. He probably sounds like he's in a pub having a laugh, saying, alright AJ, you big doss, I'm going to knock you out in a couple of years, or this or that.
And cool.
And you're a proud man. You're the heavyweight champion in the world. You believe that you should demand everyone's respect at this point. But there's just another guy out there who you know deep down can take you to deep waters. And he's saying this. And he sounds a lot more relaxed than you. And he's saying you can't box. And all you are is a big weightlifting dosser. And then you go out. And that gets in your head. And you foolishly try and box one of the best pure boxers of this generation. Because of the things Fury has been saying about you. However, Fury is too good at mental war games because he might be losing out on the biggest payday of his life because he mentally assassinated AJ before they got into the ring.
But do you think he gives a shit about the money anymore?
Oh, yes, he does.
You think so?
Yeah. Everyone gives a bollocks about $150 million payday, Viraj.
I think the fight will happen either way.
Yeah, but if AJ keeps losing, it loses value. Intrinsic value. If they had all the belts, it's worth more than a fight that doesn't have all the belts.
True.
If they were both undefeated still, it has more value. Okay. But that's gone out the window now.
Two things. One of the best stories I've ever heard Tyson talk about, and I think it was post the Klitschko fight or during those Klitschko interviews, was the bit where he's in a sauna and Klitschko walked in. Yes. Or was it a steam room?
Yes.
And he stayed longer than Klitschko just to prove that he could outbeat him in anything.
He was working on Klitschko before Klitschko ever had it in his head that they might be fighting
They
one
were
day.
sparring partners at that time.
Yes, yeah.
That's insane.
Klitschko was the world champion for already maybe like 7 years. Fury was on the come up. And that's the problem with when you're the champion, you are now on a pedestal. Everyone's watching your move.
Mm.
You're training to defend your belt, but these new guys are just training to beat you. They're training for 5-6 years in preparation for you. They're becoming an expert on you. When they train, they think about you. When they sleep, they think about you. When they eat, they think about you. Everything is geared towards beating you.
Do you think that when Fury fought Wilder, not in the first fight, not in the second fight, in the third fight,
yeah,
and we talked about this, it was an absolute warfare of a fight. It was probably one of the best fights, best fight of 2021. Do you think Wilder at the back of his mind was like, this man will not go down?
No. Yes, he did. 100% he did.
Because he's always going to get back up.
He's human. What can I do to stop this man? Do you know when Fury won the second round in the first fight? Because
what's the phrase? It was like the second fight. Well, the second fight was won in the last round of the first fight.
Yeah, it was a continuation of the 12th round. The first round of the second fight was just the 13th round of the first fight. Because Fury worked out in that moment, he can't fight going backwards. He can't do it. No one ever realised that about Wilder because no one wanted to try and push him back.
No one had ever gone Wilder for that long.
If someone's got a massive AK-47, you're not going to get in their firing line. Fury went...
No, I changed that. If someone hasn't got a rocket launcher of an arm, if someone's got a rocket launcher in front of you, you are going to stay as far away as humanly possible.
Yes.
Which defeats the logic, actually, because you'd want to get as close as humanly possible to them.
Disarm them.
Because then they can't hit because it's collateral damage.
Fury... I've got to give myself credit. I said to everyone, in the first fight, before the first fight, everyone's saying, Fury needs to box and move. And then he has to be perfect for 36 minutes. I was saying to people...
For literally 2 seconds.
I said, let's try and put him on his back foot. Let's see what he does.
You said that?
I said that.
Love it.
I said that. I said that about Bellew against David Haye. I picked Bellew for both of those fights and everyone thought I was crazy. And I said, 1, Bellew's fresher. And 2, he's going to have the sense to put Bellew on his back foot in the second fight. And David Haye's not going to be used to that.
Okay, so this fight comes around. Yeah, it's this $150 million fight.
Yeah.
What in your mind, what does AJ have to do to beat Fury? Because he's not a pure boxer.
Good luck.
He's not like USYK. He hasn't got the mother of all right arms or left arms like Wilder. I'm not sure which one it is. And he can't bop and weave like Fury can. So what can AJ do?
Body.
Just straight to the body, 24/7.
Commit to the body early doors.
So it's go straight out the box.
How do you stop a car? You take away its engine, right? The body doesn't move as fast as his head, right? Fury's got good head movement, but his feet aren't as fast as his head.
But so he makes it look as fast as his head.
If you can stop him from moving around as much as he does, then you have an easier target later on in the fight. He has to commit to the body early, but even that is a tough ask.
It is.
When I was watching AJ versus USYK, during the walkout, I knew he was going to lose.
How?
First of all, at the start of the fight, I realised, AJ's got a haircut. AJ, whatever happens in his head, but when AJ has a haircut, he doesn't show up. There's something about AJ with a trim that knocks him off his game.
When he looks like he's in the trenches.
And he's
going to a war.
And he came out to Rocky music. He was hugging and kissing people. When you're about to go fight one of the most dominant fighters of your generation, you don't stop for photos. That showed me he wasn't there mentally. He was worried.
Do you think that AJ is as good a boxer, or is it all marketing?
No, AJ's an incredible boxer. You don't win an Olympic gold medal, become an undisputed champion twice by not being very good at boxing.
Then why do people still make that argument?
Because they know nothing about boxing.
Right.
It's as simple as that. They don't appreciate the body of work that he's done in the time that he's done it. The amount of former world champions and undefeated fighters that he's beaten, the caliber of fighters that he's beaten, and the way he's beaten them. All they see is that he lost to a small fat guy and then he lost to a former cruiserweight. What I don't realise is that small fat guy was actually pretty damn good, and AJ had his reasons as to why he wasn't 100%.
I mean, yeah, he wasn't prepared. He was prepared for someone else, for someone not as quick.
You know what I'm worried about the second fight? In that Sky Sports interview,
Yeah.
AJ said that in the first fight against Ruiz, he had his reasons why he lost. For this fight, he says, I didn't have any reasons. Which shows me where his mentality is in a way, because I had no reasons. It's honest, I respect the honesty, but that kind of worries me. So what are you thinking here? How far ahead do you think he is of you? What do you feel like you need to do in the second fight? My worry is that in the second fight, and maybe we can play this after, either he's going to stop him early, or he's going to empty the gas tank too early and then get stopped himself.
And there won't be a third fight, will there?
No, if he loses twice, that's it.
Jesus.
Because he's going to have to go for him this time. Which means more volume.
So in his head,
more pressure.
It's lose and I lose everything, or it's I've got to pull a draw out of this to get a third fight, so I can use this as a learning session.
He's not thinking about a draw. He needs to try and stop him. But the problem is when you're trying to stop your opponent, you're exerting more energy. And AJ is a big, muscular guy, and whether you like it or not, it doesn't matter how hard you train, that lactic acid is going to build up. It's inevitable.
So what? He comes in leaner?
No, he needs the size though. Do you see what I'm saying? Do you see?
So he needs to. So in how long has it been off? When was the fight? It was October. So in that time, what you're basically saying is he needs to size up. He needs to put on mass. He needs to turn that into some sort of muscle.
He doesn't need to put on. He's got the mass. He's got the mass. He's got to maintain that.
But he's also got to get faster.
He doesn't need to get faster. He doesn't need to get stronger. He just needs to do a different game plan.
Right.
The game plan needs to be pressure, which is tiring to pressure a fighter, especially a fighter who's used to people putting pressure on him and getting out of it. And you need to try and stop him. And trying to stop someone in a fight is tiring.
Who is the closest person that he's fought that is like Usyk?
No one.
Who is the closest person that he's fought that is like Tyson?
No one.
Well, therein lies the problem.
There are not fighters like them. You don't get fighters like that.
So they're once of a generation fighters. When he's got to fight two of them in the same generation.
Tyson Fury is 6'9", 270 odd pounds, and moves like a middleweight. You do not, you don't build those guys. If I was playing a PlayStation game right now, I wouldn't build that guy. You can't build that guy. How do you prepare for that?
I have no idea. And Usyk, in my head, I'm a boxing casual. I don't know much about the sport, and I've learned a lot through you and through watching these interviews and stuff. I see Usyk as like the heavyweight Canelo in terms of how he functions, how he navigates this sport, how he fights. There's this beautiful art to it, the way that Canelo fights. And I look at Canelo and I look at Usyk and I'm like, Jesus, this guy wiped clean a whole cruiserweight division, moved up, wiped clean everyone that was put in front of him, and now is going for these, invincible people that, 4 years ago were all undefeated.
The thing that Canelo and Usyk have in common is they don't let their opponents stop thinking.
It's constant barrage of punches.
You have to constantly think when you're in a ring with that guy, because they're constantly giving you different looks. They're slipping left, but they don't throw. They slip right. They're rolling your punches. They look like they're walking forward, but they're not. They're cutting off the ring. There's a big difference between just walking forward in a boxing ring and cutting off the ring. They're making the ring tiny for you. There's nowhere to go until you suddenly, spontaneously run out of space. And people are thinking, why are you in the corner? Because they got put there. There's nowhere else to go. Because they're that clever. If you move left, they don't just follow you round. If you move left, they move along with you. Nope, you ain't going that way. I'm there. And they're going to throw a left hook to the body to get you to move back to your right. And then suddenly you're in the corner. And you're stuck there. And they might not throw a lot of punches. Usyk probably throws more pitter-patter punches. Canelo doesn't throw a lot of punches. But when he throws them, they bloody land.
Yeah.
And they land clean. Canelo didn't just suddenly become this massive power puncher. He didn't get more powerful. Maybe he did because he's on roids. But he's just got increasingly more accurate. You know how much of a difference there is when a body punch lands clean on your ribs when I punch you got landed half on your arm and half on your ribs.
You showed me with you were showing me how McGregor kicks, and McGregor's kick, or in MMA where they kick the calf versus kicking shin on shin.
Yeah, and the difference.
The difference in that, I can only attribute it to that.
It's the minor differences. In the UFC, take Israel Adesanya, right? You can't prepare for that. The guy shows you a leg kick and then comes up top with the next one and then throws a right hand. When he stopped Derek Brunson, he threw a right hand, I believe it was, and then a question mark kick from the same side. They don't teach you that. You don't go to a kickboxing class and they teach you, all right, today guys, we're going to throw a right hand and then a question mark kick from the same side. There is no defense for that. If that happens, you are now a victim. Congratulations, that just happened to you. A lot of the time when Tyson Fury boxes people, he's not boxing them, he's just victimizing people.
Right.
Klitschko was one of the best heavyweights of his generation. The best boxer of his generation in terms of heavyweights. And he was bemused. He didn't know whether he was coming or going. He was tripping over his own legs.
That's crazy.
Because some people just get it, Viraj. Just how Lewis Hamilton gets his way around a racetrack, Tyson Fury just gets it.
And you can't fight in his war with Virajs either. So it's like, how does AJ prepare for that? If it's already affected him and he's calling him up at 2 a.m. or 12 o'clock at midnight before training or before a fight, saying whatever he says, right? How are you going to prepare for the warfare that's going to occur, that has been ongoing for 3 years, that he's been setting up knowing that this fight is something that could happen? He's already in your head. It's rent-free, mate.
Well, Fury attacks your pride. He doesn't attack your character.
Yes.
Necessarily. He attacks your pride.
But the media spins it as he's attacking your character.
It's even worse to attack the pride, though.
Yes.
To attack the pride of a professional prize fighter. These guys have trained their entire lives to not look weak. And then there's this guy who can match you in every single territory, calling you a bum, a daughter. That's unusual. That's hard to deal with. What are you going to do about it? And you know deep down, but he's also good. It's not talk. We know he can back it up. That's hard to deal with.
It's going to be a very interesting fight. A very interesting fight.
If AJ doesn't get a haircut, he'll be fine. He'll win. If he gets a haircut, I'm switching off the telly.
Okay, so make the call. Ballpark it. Make a call. Make an estimate on the second, not on the Fury fight, on the USYK fight.
AJ either stops him or he gets stopped this time. He's going to go out on his shield.
You think?
Mm-hmm. It's kill or be killed in this fight. He's either going to stop him or he's going to go out on his shield. There's no other way about it. He's not going to outbox him. He's not going to beat him on points.
It's going to be a hell of a fight.
And by the way, there is evidence from that first fight of what he needs to do. Because when AJ would go to the body, Usyk would flinch. He didn't like it. He needs to commit to that earlier. And his trainers need to be honest with him in the corner and just not say, good work, AJ. Good, good. Stay behind the jab. Don't stay behind that jab, AJ. Make something happen. Come off that jab and go to the body. You need to.
He likes that jab. He likes it a lot.
I think Usyk was severely underestimated in that last fight.
Yeah.
People think Usyk AJ was going to be too big, too
severely
strong.
Underestimated at heavyweight. People didn't think he had the cojones to fight with the big boys.
Because of what happened against Derek Chisora. Derek Chisora gave him a good fight, but styles make fight. You're not going to stop Chisora that easily, and Chisora just keeps coming forward, so he makes it look much more competitive than he actually is.
Who's the other English fighter? There's Chisora, there's AJ, and there's
Dillian White.
There's Dillian White, and there's another one.
Tyson Fury.
Okay, there's another one.
Daniel Dubois.
No, not he's under Eddie Hearns. He threw a table the other day.
That's Derek Chisora.
Oh, is that Chisora?
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah. Chisora is
I was thinking Derek Brunson. My bad.
Chisora is an older fighter.
Right.
He's never been a world champion. He just fights the best of the best, and most of the time he loses against them.
So he's kind of like a gatekeeper.
He'd probably knock you out for calling him that, but yeah.
True. Yeah.
Chisora's the guy you want on your side in a bar fight.
I like that. I like that analogy. I like it.
There are a couple of things. Me and my friend Ed were discussing this the other day. there are a couple of things that men overestimate themselves, right? Their fighting ability, their ability in the bedroom, right? Their intelligence and how funny they are. Those are the things that all men overestimate themselves. And most of the time, most men are terrible at all of those things.
All three.
But because we're men, we have a massive ego and we think we're amazing at all of those things. Which is why I'm so great, because I'm brilliant at all those things, Viraj.
You think so, Muhsin? I've never slept with you, so...
I can't wait for our boxing match, by the way.
Oh, are you preparing?
I don't need to prepare for you. You know what's interesting, right? So you keep saying, so Viraj keeps saying in 2 years he's going to beat me in a boxing match, right? But since you said that, how many times have you done boxing?
I'm not going to tell you.
You've done it none at all.
I'm not going to tell you.
Okay.
You don't know what I'm doing behind the scenes.
Name me a couple of boxing combinations.
I'm not falling for this. I'm not going to tell you what I'm doing. I'm going to turn up on the day and I'll knock you spark cold.
Truthfully, do you want me to show mercy?
No.
You don't want... Okay.
I do. Why would I want you to show mercy, Muhsin?
I will tell you what punches I'm going to throw before I throw them.
Go on.
And I'll still land them.
Go on. See.
Oh, it's going to be such a rude awakening, man.
You can say what you want.
You're just going to be such a rude awakening.
You can say what you want. I am not scared of you. I know the inside of your mind.
Have you ever sparred?
Don't need to worry about that.
Answer the question.
Nah,
we're on a podcast. We're on a podcast. Have you ever sparred?
I'm not talking
yes or no?
about my boxing finesse or what I'm doing.
What finesse?
Okay?
Jesus Christ.
Just know
it's going to be
barbaric for you.
It is going to be barbaric.
I haven't picked up a pair of gloves yet.
Right. Okay.
I looked at a pair of gloves.
You looked at them. That's nice. Have you ever sparred?
I'm not.
Just answer the question, just out of interest. Have you ever sparred?
I'm not playing these mental mind games.
It's not mental, mate. I'm asking you a question. I'm going somewhere with this.
Yes,
have you
I
ever
have.
sparred? When did you spar?
Don't need to worry about that.
Viraj, we're on a
Don't
podcast.
need to worry about that, listen. I am not going to let you get inside of my head and make me think that I'm not as good as you.
At boxing?
Just know.
In life?
When those right
we're
and left
equals.
combination hits, they're going to hit. And you're going to look at me and go, wow, I really underestimated you because you're this scrawny little kid. Wait and see, Mushin Yesilada. Wait and see.
You know where the only place where life is fair?
Where?
In a boxing ring, Viraj. It's the only place life is fair.
Should we put a wager on it?
You can put as much money as you like. The more money I'm going into the bank account. £1,000?
Wow, that's a steep one.
Yeah? £1,000?
Nah, I can't do 1,000.
I'll do my entire savings.
I'll
I don't
do
really
a pound.
care. Do
I'll
a pound?
A single pound.
Bring your pound.
Single pound. And a coffee.
You're going to need more than a coffee. I hope the emergency room has a nice coffee machine. Jesus Christ. I'll keep the engine on.
Muhsin, just wait. We'll make it a televised event. And you can get knocked on your ass as many times as you like.
I'm going to dance around you. And I'm going to just decide what tactic I'm going to employ in that moment. Whether I'm going to box, am I going to fight, am I going to go on the inside, I'm going to scrap. I might even let you get a couple of in there.
You can say what you want.
In what world do you think you could hit me hard enough to bother me?
You will see.
How much do you weigh?
You will see.
How much do you weigh?
Oh, how much do I weigh?
Yeah.
I currently weigh 72 kilos.
See, I weigh so much more than you as well.
Well, try me.
And I didn't put that weight on purpose, by the way.
It was just accent. So what are you at your prime? When Muhsin's at, prime Muhsin?
66, 68.
Really?
Yeah, I'm like 88 now.
You get down really low.
I'm 5'7". I'm not. I should be that way.
7'3".
Allegedly.
Okay.
I've always wanted to beat up my friends. I love my friends, but I want to knock you lot out.
When we had that barbecue here, and we did the sparring outside in the garden.
Yeah.
And you can see all of that stuff on Instagram, on our pages. I genuinely saw a love for beating up people. I saw something in your eyes that day that I have never seen before. It's like this beautiful combination of rage and happiness pulled into one. Because when someone hits you, when Ali hit you, you were like, oh.
I can't remember. but
Memory of an elephant.
you work out. You can listen. There have been times where I've had my absolute arse kicked in boxing, and you learn about yourself in those moments. You do. When you go home and you have to check yourself, like, I got my arse handed today. What do I need to do to be better? I recommend, right, all parents should put their kids into some sort of martial art or combat sport. Because if you're worried about your kids fighting in school or fighting with their siblings, put them in a combat sport. They will learn discipline, and I promise you they'll be way too tired to start fighting in school.
Of course.
It will give them a newfound confidence. And in this world, with all the messed up things, you need kids who can defend themselves, right? It's a primary skill for life. Do it.
So if you're a dad, when you're a dad,
yes,
what are you putting your kids in? Are you putting them in boxing? Are you putting them in taekwondo? Are you putting them in karate? Or are you doing a combination of those things?
I always find when your kid is really young, right, you are just letting them try lots of sports. And then when they get to a bit older, right, and you assess which ones they really like, then you assess which ones they want to actually pursue or want to do more of. Let them try everything when they're kids. If they want to try tennis, football, kickboxing, one day a week they do the tennis, one day a week they do football, the next day they do kickboxing.
Yeah.
And then as they get a bit older, which one do they really like, and let them do that. I think that's a good way of sorting out your kids' extracurriculars. You can't live through your kids. If you want to mess up your kids, just try and live your own life through them. That's a good way of messing up your kids.
Yeah.
Because all you're going to do is just pass on your traumas, your hopes, your ambitions onto them.
Which is what most parents do. Which is what, kind of like what happens just by accident. You don't go out of your way to do that.
No, they don't.
You think
But
they're
it's
doing the
natural.
best thing, right?
You think your kids are going to be the better version of you, but no, they're going to try and be the best versions of themselves. They're going to be their own people, they're going to have their own experiences.
They're a combination of two people, they're not a combination of just the father or the mother.
Exactly.
No, it's in their DNA.
Yeah.
That's how it's structured. It's two. It's not one.
That's a very quick way of messing up your children.
You look after yourself, okay? Don't let him tell you what to do. You do the things that you want to do.
Oh yeah.
I like this little guy.
He's a good man.
He's a good little mascot.
It's like when you go to university and you finally work out who you are. I realised that I was a drunken mess at university. All I did...
I realised I'd never thought for myself.
Yeah.
And then I was given the space to, and I just was like, what is this thinking? Like,
Yeah.
what am I doing?
Exactly. Yeah. When I went to uni, I was just an idiot who was given university accommodation and the option of getting a degree. When I left university, I was a more well-rounded, better person.
But that's what uni is supposed to do to you. That's
Exactly.
what it's supposed to do to you.
When you start uni, you're essentially an idiot who's just been given freedom for the first time.
Yeah.
And then you're just going to make a crap load of mistakes. You're going to upset yourself, you're going to upset other people, but you're going to have a good time doing it.
And you were a kid that had a free lifestyle.
Yeah.
Like we talked about homework a couple of podcasts ago. You didn't do any, and I did. And we both went in as idiots that got freedom.
Yeah.
And I would consider your life, your home life, your child life, to be so much freer than mine. Go in, go out when you wanted, blah blah blah. Compared to me, where I was just like homework, education. Neither is right or wrong. You know, you got life skills from an early age. You know, on the street, with friends, real life skills. I got it in education, becoming an academic, and look how it's turned out. You're more academic than I am.
You never know how people are going to pan out.
Yeah.
It's so interesting when you check out what your friends from school are doing now, and some people don't surprise you at all, and some people who were absolute morons in school and suddenly now like extremely successful scientists or accountants.
Oh, it's incredible.
You listen, don't write people off. Some people can really surprise you, and some people can really underwhelm you.
I had a friend, and I'm not going to mention his name, but we went to school together, and I know for a fact that every single teacher that he came across counted him out.
Yeah.
This young man has gone through uni. He's got several side hustles. He's going to do incredibly well for himself.
Yeah.
And I know as a fact, like I heard a teacher say, he's not going to make it.
And now look at him.
He's
killing it.
He's going to be killing it.
Yeah.
because he has, I don't know what ticked in his
Street
head.
smarts.
Meant street smarts,
Yeah.
but he's got a drive there
Mm-hmm.
that is bigger than everyone else's.
Mm.
He had something to prove to himself, not to anyone else, to himself.
You can't teach that either.
Nope. That's got to come from within, and that can come at any level. Doesn't matter where you are in the world, who you are, that can come from any level because it's within.
Yeah.
That's not some external factor of 24 hours. You have to pick yourself up and go, well, I'm going to do something to change my life.
Yeah. Growing up at university is realising that no one's going to do the washing up for you, and that if you don't take that tea from your desk that's kind of slowly gathering mould, eventually it's going to start stinking up the room.
Yep.
That's growing up at uni, when you run out of underwear. So you have to do an emergency wash and you start calling your mum on how to do it. That's growing up at university.
I think I called my mum like twice in the first week. I was like,
Yeah.
how do I use the washing machines? The washing machines and the dryers. And she gave me a tutorial on the first day on how to use them.
Yeah.
I was baffled because they looked nothing like the one at home.
You know, there was a couple of times. I've told you this story off air,
Yeah.
right? But one time at university, I went to a talk and I was a little bit drunk. So I went to a lecture and I was still a little bit drunk. And after, they had a drinks for just the lecturers, and I rocked up to the drinks, drank all the free champagne, and in front of some of the best researchers in that field in the world, I started going on a rant about why the film The Shining is the best film ever made. And they're all just looking at me like, who is this kid and what is he on? That's university. Imagine in secondary school going into the staff room and nicking all the free Prosecco and trying to have a chat with them. University is freedom, man.
But that story has a second part to it. That story allowed you to be in the position that you are.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Because,
and I know it's a completely different
Yeah.
thing, but you don't know what's going to turn up.
Yeah.
Because as academics, and I find it really difficult, I find PhD students super hard to talk to. Like your average run-of-the-mill, not average PhD student, but a lot the social kind of image of PhD students, there are these like high academics that are high functioning individuals. No, some of them look like him.
Trying to make sure shisha hoops. Yeah, that's life. Some people have their own little way.
Yeah, it's good fun.
Yeah. How long have we done? I feel like we've gone on
55 minutes.
Okay, Viraj, wrap this up. Do a fucking.
No, you do them best. I do the intros. You do the outros, buddy.
Okay. What am I shouting out? What do we need to shout out?
We need to buy more tickets.
Oh, can you not just buy some tickets to 1 Minute Smoke in January 27th in Shoreditch, please? What are you doing? What are you doing with your time? Right? I know it's January, yeah, and everyone's broke because you bought all your friends and family terrible gifts that no one wants, and they probably refunded half of them anyway. But just buy a ticket. It's a tenner. Come, sometimes £15. Buy a ticket. It's a tenner. Sometimes just come and have a good time with us. We'll tickle you. Viraj will give you a haircut. Look how good it is. Viraj, show him your hair. Look how good he's at haircuts.
Dickhead.
Come to 1 Minute Smoke. Goodbye.
We'll be on all social media platforms. We got reached out to by Spotify to get this in video for
Yes.
you. Yeah?
We actually did. That's an exaggeration, but it's still the truth.
I mean, they sent us an email, so that counts.
Yes.
It's some sort of weird white lie way.
Yes.
Watch it on Spotify, watch it on YouTube. We're on Apple Music and every other podcasting platform that you can possibly think of.
All
and
of
if we're
that.
not, DM us and I'll get it on there.
Respect your mum.
Have fun. See you next time.